I think the biggest problem what we have is this, that when we talk about dog and human relationship, it's like with humans, there is like no one similar relationship than the other. So every relationship, every connection is unique. So is the dog training. Like they try to divide always like the bad and the good, you know,
Right.
and that the force-free or the force trainers, for example. That's not true. Like there are as many training methods as we have humans in this world who own the dogs. And even each one of those human train each different dogs like differently. So basically like we have millions of ways of interacting with a dog and not just two ways, you know?
Right.
We can do so much bad. Just we all good dog trainers, we know this, that if we wouldn't use, for example, any physical corrections, we could just really damage dog like mentally, like
Yes.
how you call it,
Psychologically.
Psychologically. It's like with humans.
Psychologically. We are foreigners, so we say P in front of
Yes.
psychologically.
Yeah, exactly. We say like, obviously. No doubt. Okay, so no doubt we will do that psychologically. We can damage the dog really hardly, by just like not rewarding them when they expect that, and just like being wrong in timing, not using emotion when we should, just giving the treat. That can be also very damaging, like in many situations. On the other hand around, we also have like trainers who can use like very, very hard physical corrections without the dog understanding it, and we can also damage the dog very badly. But it's the same like with humans. We can mentally and psychologically damage a human even more than physically sometimes. You know, we can make a lot of pressure.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, like taking their freedom away. There are a lot of things for that, and I think that's the first thing what we should understand, that it's not only two ways. There are millions of ways. So even the people who train very similar than I do, even they train a little bit differently.
Yes.
And so that's the first thing. But I kind of like, I really understand what you say, that it's hard to like stand up for something like what's like acceptable to do and what is not acceptable to do, because in the end we should always aim to look for the good for the dog.
Correct.
And think if there are better ways to train this particular dog, like more dog-friendly ways, we should always go for that if possible. But then there are also some situations where we know that there is no other way to fix the dog's behavior than kill the dog,
Right.
you know,
Where
euthanize him.
Yes.
But if we can solve the dog's problems with physical corrections, for example, then we should go for that way, because the death is always worse
Yes.
than fixing the dog's behavior and then give a good life for the dog. So they're like, it's a kind of, there are like, ethics are very difficult topic to discuss about, because
Yeah, the force-free idea is such a good intention that goes awfully wrong.
Yeah.
I've had like sometimes like and it's hard to post people's videos. You just never want to do that. But I recently had some two trainers, I wouldn't even say male, female, from another country, and they sent me a video of a dog, and it's like, hey, we're like really doing all force-free, and they were doing a downstay with the dog. And I don't think even was for any sport, or might have been, because I just saw that short video. And they were so proud that they don't use any aversive, nothing, it's force-free. And the dog looks so miserable there. Like, he looks like it's been just so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But the fact that there is no physical, that it's force-free, they somehow
explain themselves.
Cannot see that the dog is like really not in a good place.
Yes. And I saw exactly the same. Like there was like a Finnish kind of like a PETA organization. It's called like Right for the Animals. And they published a video how the dog training should be done instead of like physically like correcting the dog. And they used like a Malinois, and it was obviously, I think, some foreign trainer who did it. So it was not a Finnish trainer. They have taken it from some video bank or somewhere. I don't know where they even found that video. But this person was doing like down from motion with the dog and using this kind of like a touching stick or something like that, you know? And the dog was like, the whole body language of the dog was like so unpleasant. Like you could see that the dog was feeling pressure, and the dog was like ears behind and very closed, going down. And I'm like, couldn't they found like any better video of promoting there? Because if my dog would ever show that emotion in the training, I would feel so bad for my dog. No matter what's my even training method, but I would see that the dog is not enjoying what he's doing. And they just couldn't see that. So the ideology goes like in front of the dog's like real emotions, you know? Like
Yes.
And that is something what we should always, I think we all actually aim for the same goal, kind
I
of.
was just going to say, yes, we are truly wanting exact same thing, but we are so disconnected of oh, you are the bad person.
Yes.
And it's like, come on.
Yeah, and we actually should we should like talk more together. We should like interact more, because the more we would do actually like a real life interaction,
Yes.
we could maybe, because eventually we all want that our dogs feel good. Yeah.
Yes, ultimately we are
But dividing people, like that's how the war propaganda works. Ultimately,
Right.
It's like that you have to make the
Divide.
enemy like
Yes.
like faceless. They must be so bad people that they must be kind of like killed, because otherwise people wouldn't be able to kill them. And the same is a little bit now when we have this kind of war between like, you know, trainers who are, you know, use like sometimes corrections, and then the people who are like, we don't ever correct our dogs, whatever they do. And it's kind of like it's not good for, ultimately it's bad for the dogs. The dogs are suffering the most from this. And I think we could actually learn from both sides some
there
things.
is knowledge all around.
Yes.
All around.
Yeah, and we should respect always like more and interact more instead of like dividing people.
Like
But-
in our, like in the States, there is, you know, there are a couple of organizations, or maybe there are more, that, you know, they're the force-free, like the one is that APDT. And they do really anything possible to bring a very high wall between. It's like, if you want to join our organization, you cannot have this equipment, you cannot be this kind of trainer, you cannot be balanced, you cannot whatever.
Yeah,
It's such a wrong strategy.
it is.
Like, bring those people in the way they are,
yeah,
and then show them something better, because who is that trainer that, if you show me something good, like let's say, I always give this example, let's say just as we're right here right now and we
Yeah.
watch some video and it happened to be in Hong Kong, and we can recognize something new and something interesting, we're gonna want to know, right? We're like, how do you do that? Let's go to Hong
Yeah.
Kong.
Yeah.
Or let's get that person here. We immediately
Yeah.
interact.
yes,
And when we put this wall, it's like, well, no, you're very wrong, but you cannot come in because that's inclusive for only force free. If you want to gain our hearts and bring us in, show us. I'll gladly do the best I can
yes.
for my dogs. And I don't
If
see
it
any
works,
person that, exactly.
Yeah, we are very keen to learn. And I think, you know, if you want to believe in science, well, what the science says about learning is that we humans, we learn the best in a positive, encouraging environment, you know? When we feel like safe, in safe, psychologically safe environment, we learn the best, And I really lack of understanding that if this is the best way of teaching dogs and humans, why don't we use that way of teaching humans to learn like better ways? Why would you ever choose to teach a dog by pushing him first down, showing how stupid the dog is, showing how wrong the dog is doing, and then start to bring the dog like step by step, like, okay, because of my mercy, I can show you something new. You wouldn't, because you know that your dog would be forced to learn that, and it would be never really like desired to do what you want. And then I'm really lacking understanding why would we do the same for humans, because ultimately Skinner, they were like, and those people who were like making those researches about animals, they made it to benefit humans. You know, what we can learn from animals, we can actually use with humans about learning.
Yes.
Yes.
That was the whole point.
Yes, it was a whole point. So I'm lacking understanding, like, because I have learned, like, how do I became a world champion was like participating to all top trainers' seminars and trying to learn. I always look the best part of their work and trying to learn from them. And every time when I have a chance, I do this. And no matter about the sports, I have invited to Finland like obedience world champions, like FCI obedience world champions, to give seminars, and I have learned from them.